am back with a movie review. We're watching Coraline, and I'm here with Chris again, the 3D experts. What's up, everybody? And we're gonna watch Coraline remastered.
Technically,
Apparently, allegedly,
I'm suspicious.
Remastered. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see much of a difference.
No. We're seeing it on a 2K screen.
Yeah. So, meh. All right. Let's see. Chris and I decided to go to the Universal Cinema, and this is technically an AMC?
It is an AMC.
It is an AMC.
Very much an AMC. I gestured as if there was going to be an AMC.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But inside, and they just opened a new Prime screen in there. You know, AMC Prime is a Dolby knockoff.
Really?
It's the exact same thing as Dolby.
Is it 4K screen?
It's 4K, but it only has one projector rather than two. I believe that's the difference. But it's still
Interesting.
has vibrating seats.
Oh, cool. Let's go in then.
I will say, I think I say this afterwards, but I forgot my glasses, so the remaster is going to be even more.
Yeah, even if it wasn't 4K, you wouldn't notice.
But I'm pretty sure there's going to be a 2K screen, so you know.
Yeah. All right. So I said this to Chris earlier in the car, but to my understanding, last year they remastered Coraline in 4K. And now they are releasing it remastered in 3D. The problem is that there's no screens available that are 4K screens, and so thank you. It seems like that we're just gonna end up seeing the film that we already have on 3D Blu-ray anyways.
The 4K version in 2K, like when they released the Spider-Man. Were you aware there was a period before they released 4K Blu-ray where they released 2K Blu-rays mastered in 4K, like they released.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like that. Like,
Gotcha.
Maybe.
Interesting. Womp womp. All right. Well, yeah, we're gonna watch it, then tell you our thoughts afterwards. All right. One thing I want to say really quick before we jump in the theater is that when this came out originally in 2009, what, The Wild Robot?
Huh?
What were you pointing at?
Oh, I always love the costumes they have.
Oh yes.
Like when I came to see the new one by.
Good.
Cut.
I love it.
What was the movie about the atomic bomb that came out? My memory's horrible.
Oh God.
Everyone knows, but when that came out,
Yeah, that one.
they had all the costumes from the movies. Like
Oppenheimer?
Right here. Oppenheimer, right? Good,
Okay.
there we go. All the costumes from Oppenheimer right here on the day, which is pretty cool. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, all the costumes.
So anyways, as I was saying, back 15 years ago in 2009, when they were saying that Coraline was going to be in 3D, I didn't know that digital 3D was a thing, and so I thought that, oh, this is going to be anaglyph red and blue glasses. I'm like, I don't want to see it like that, and I'm like, I'm just gonna skip it. And then so I skipped Coraline in 3D, and part of the big enjoyment for me about seeing movies is other people's reactions to it. I like to see how people enjoy a film and how they react to certain jokes that I might not laugh to, but other people would. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that was funny. I didn't laugh to it, so I thought it wasn't funny, but now I see why it's funny. So, yeah, part of that's a big experience for me, and so I'm excited to see this that way, because back then when The Wizard of Oz came out in 3D, I never saw that in a theater before. When I saw it in a theater, everyone was laughing. I'm like, this is a really funny movie. I didn't notice it because I was a kid when I first saw it, and then I just thought the whole movie wasn't funny. So anyways, so yeah, that's why I'm really excited. My first 3D movie that I saw digitally was Monsters vs. Aliens. I saw it in 2D, thought it sucked, and then there was a commercial that was like, if you haven't seen it in 3D, you haven't seen nothing yet. And I'm like, okay, fine. Like, I'll go see this stupid movie again. And then I didn't love it, but I thought it was much better in 3D. And then I'm like, okay. When I first saw it in digital 3D, that blew my mind, and that's what got me hooked ever since then.
And to add to that, I will add, there's the AMC logo. Proof. There it is.
It is an AMC. So this is their Prime Dolby Cinema knockoff.
I wish it was in there because it is 4K and the seats are brand new and they smell like fresh cows. It's great.
Nice.
Yeah. Fresh plastic cows.
Yeah, we're gonna see the remastered Coraline, and
Let's go check it out.
maybe we'll notice like HDR or something, but
Maybe. I don't know.
But I don't know. But it's a fun movie, so I'm mainly here to see Coraline in a movie theater. So, all right. Hope you guys are excited.
All right, Chris, what did you think? Wow, was it? I can confirm it was Coraline in 3D.
Yeah, I was really nervous about that part.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, we were watching it on a 2K screen, so... but I do think, judging by their really cool documentary afterwards about how they remade, the Coraline puppets for, like, promo or something.
And that's not in 3D.
No, it isn't. But it had some footage of the movie that I think was the original master, like not remastered, and that made it more clear. Like I do think there was color palette difference. Definitely, there was actually one scene where it was. I think the first time they got out to the old ladies in the basement, and the basement apartment, and one of their like mouths and lipstick was so vibrant over contrasty that's when I was like, did they put this through Topaz standard software? Because Topaz does that with Reds. Like that was an issue for me when I was remastering a lot of stuff. Was it kind of like messes up Reds a lot, which is like hard if you are trying to overlay it with the regular 2D first. So I was wondering about that, but yeah, it's like but Topaz usually makes like a load of crazy artifacts. I didn't see any of that stuff, so I think it might just a bit of they just changed the color, like they just.
Yeah, when it first started, I'm like, I can't tell if it's placebo or not, but Coraline herself colors, and it's because it was when she was in the real world and everything's kind of gray, but she stood out, and I'm like, I can't tell if it's placebo or it actually looks more colorful. Yeah, and so Chris says it is, and therefore it is. I was kidding.
Here are my glasses. I literally thought, I took them off earlier, I think the hair wherever, and I literally thought to myself, oh, I should put these back on soon or I'll forget them and I won't watch the movie. And of course that's what happened. It's an ADHD prophecy. Very 3D. Yeah, so this might have helped with the review, but at the same time, you know, I said all that about it, I don't, you know, but quality-wise, did you see like a mind-blowing difference?
I'm convinced we watched a 1080p movie.
Yeah. Well, from the 4K master, but yeah, I mean, you know, I'm pretty sure the projectors, even though works the AS Universal, which does have very nice screens, as laser projectors for every screen, like a lot of ASCs do now.
Yeah.
So it has nice projectors, but I'm pretty sure they are 2K, like they're 1080p basically. So
yeah. There were, I did notice more discrepancies between the left and right eye images on certain shots with reflections bouncing off of Coraline's hair. And that's because the movie was actually shot with 3D. And that is to be expected, and I think that's a good thing. There was one part where I noticed, I'm pretty convinced this is because they remastered it. Aliasing was better. Is that the right word?
yeah, well, it's like, I don't know what the official term is, because aliasing is like what you have in games, right? Or I would say aliasing, but like, it's that, you know, jaggedy stuff you'd see in games. I guess people say staircasing sometimes for like video. But, you know, you guys get, you know, it's like, you know, little jaggies. And I noticed some of the jaggies this time, which I guess are just part of the original master. But you think there was a scene?
Yeah, there was a specific shot where the other mother was holding the gift box that had the buttons in it to replace Coraline's eyes. And it's a shot that's like, I feel like it's 4 frames long, but because they skipped frames in that movie, I think it's like, I think it's a full second actually, with how many times they skip it, but there's only so many frames, so or maybe it's half a second long. In any case, I noticed on the 1080p version, every time I watched it, there was aliasing going on. But this time that I watched it, it did not do that. And I'm not educated enough to know whether this was the case or not, but if they remastered it into 4K and brought it down to 1080p, perhaps that is what got rid of it. Yeah, it was for only one shot. No, the only shot I noticed, and I'm not even sure it's a full second. So go see the movie for, you know what?
That's why you just spent $24. Because guys, I didn't realize this, but if you're an AMC A-list member like I am, Fathom the Lettuce, which is that, I guess, you know, they do like rescreens of certain stuff. They run the Coraline thing. Not included in the AMC A-list pass, so I spent a cool $22 to see a movie I already owned, but it was worth it. It was fun. It was like,
yes, cool. Well, I really enjoyed the audience reaction. I recorded some of the audience reacting to the very end, and there was a lot of clapping and whatnot because, you know, because everyone that went obviously was like full boner for Coraline. So, you know, which is because I'm sure when the original came out, no one was that much of a fan
of the book. Or,
well, I think everyone that saw it today, yeah, was a huge fan.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like it's kind of like a mini cult classic now.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be its own Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Although, like, I like Coraline, but it's never grouping that much. Like, I don't know. It doesn't. I feel like movies that are that creepy often have a satisfying ending. I don't know, like the ending's not that satisfying.
And I like that it's not satisfying. I'm of the group that's like all about it. I love it. Nightmare Before Christmas. I even think Nightmare Before Christmas isn't even super satisfying.
I don't love that movie either. I'm gonna upset people because I don't.
So yeah, the first time I saw it, I'm like, what the fuck is everyone going on about? But I, you know, the beautiful thing that I think about art is not that it's perfect, but it's just slightly off. And it's the I find that charming. And so, anyways, that's why I think Nightmare is cool and Coraline is cool. We're not talking about 3D at all. So going into this, Chris and I believe you shared the same opinion that we didn't have much to say about the difference between the movie that we saw before and this one because we were watching a 1080p movie. But anyways, that's all we had to say basically about this remaster, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd never seen Coraline in the cinema. It sounds like you did see it in 3D. Did you see it in 3D?
I did not see it in 3D when it first came out. And so this is my first time seeing it in 3D with an audience.
Yeah, and there is something upset to seeing, you know, a 3D movie, although, you know, because again, like I said, AMC, like it was a Universal, pretty good-sized screen, one of the good-sized screens.
Yeah, I'm glad that they didn't throw us in a small theater.
No, because they do have quite a few of those. Honestly, those, like, they all have laser projection, so, like, if you're close enough, it doesn't make too much difference, but it was, you know, nice big screen, good sound. So it is interesting to see a 3D movie that you only see on Blu-ray. I only had a 65-inch TV, the 3D anyway.
Yeah, and my projector is only 120 inches, so we're practically apart. So, yeah.
But, you know, I think my opinion on the 3D Coraline is pretty much the same, but
yeah, let's talk about the 3D of just Coraline as a movie,
because that's what.
Because for those of you who don't know, when they said remaster the 3D, they didn't. The 3D is exactly the same.
Yeah,
they didn't. When you shoot a movie in 3D, it's impossible to change it unless you're converting it later.
Yeah,
and you're not doing that. So the 3D is exactly the same. And that's the footage you guys are seeing right now. Hopefully I'll edit it later. This will not be finished. This will not be finished by the time Coraline is out of the theaters, by the way. So this is more of a go buy it on 3D Blu-ray video.
Oh yeah, too bad you missed it. Or I guess it doesn't make much difference. The 3D Blu-ray is basically the same experience.
Yeah, so just for the history books, because this won't be out by the time you go see it. There are no trailers for this movie.
Right.
So at 7:30, that's the time it starts. And so, and the same thing happened to me when I saw Pixar's Turning Red for the first time. There were no trailers, it just started. And when I saw it, the 3D was broken when it started. And that was the only showtime that day that they were showing it. And I'm like, God damn it. But when we took Chris, there were trailers.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's good for me because I didn't miss anything. Whereas we missed the first 7 minutes of Coraline. We walked in, I'm like, oh, it's playing. It's only like
I heard the thunder, and I'm like, no, I knew exactly I have full movie memorized, so I knew exactly where it was. I'm like, why? Why did it fast forward?
But these days, generally, you walk into a movie 7 minutes after the start, you're going to be there for at least 20 minutes, maybe half an hour, maybe it's like longer.
Oh, that's placebo. Or not placebo, but I used to work at a movie theater, and a buddy at a rabbit room. A rabbit.
Yeah, there's a difference.
There's a difference.
Oh, okay.
Well, now we have to show the audience a buddy in 3D.
We do. Well, I could pick him up if he wants.
Yes.
So, Mary, come here. Oh, he tried to escape. Buddy in 3D. Hello. What? You fine? Hope you good. You like saying on the couch, but anyway, so yeah. Oh yeah, we're just ranting about this thing at the start, but
Okay, yeah.
it could have been worse. It was
The 3D in Coraline, from what I remember,
I try and eat your socks.
that's fine. I eat my socks too. The opening scene in Coraline is probably one of the coolest parts of the entire movie. It's when she's like making the puppet, the doll Coraline,
right.
and the best 3D is there because the needle comes like straight out, and then it goes like that, and then another one comes in and picks it up, and there's no 3D stronger in the entire movie than that. And there are some pop-outs, but not as much stats right in your face. I missed that part, but I think also the rest of the audience did because so many people were coming.
Oh yeah, we were not the only ones.
Yeah, because I was hearing people walking and they're like, "Oh, really?" And they missed it. So there are some strong 3D elements in this movie, and during this time, a lot of artistic directors were playing around with the 3D to use it as storytelling elements where, like a Wizard of Oz or Alice in Wonderland, in the normal world, things are kind of flat and boring and things are wonderful and have a lot of depth and are exciting in the other world. And they literally did that in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. They didn't do that in the 3D version of the original Wizard of Oz. But I think they did do that in Oz the Great Powerful, I think.
I cannot confirm because I watched that movie once and was like, this isn't deeply mediocre. And of course, we want to get
I got it. But
yeah, the 3D was good in that. Like, but the parts I remember that were good.
I think there's a lot of really artistic storytelling elements that use the 3D very well. And for the parts that have extreme depth, like the tunnel or the extreme pop-outs.
That's just that map shot.
Yeah. But that shot happens multiple times.
Yeah. But it's as hard as the first time you see it, It's special. Yeah, when it
because always. Yeah, because that's the first time that there's any extreme depth in the movie.
Yeah.
Because everything's super flat. So I guess I have to rate this movie out of 10. That's why I've been doing.
So
how I rate a 3D movie is I do take into account how good the movie is. Okay. Because if I'm going to invite people over to watch a 3D movie, it's not just about the 3D eye candy. I'm not making somebody sit through shit just to see 3D eye candy.
But what if I want to watch Transformers 4?
Then everyone better be into it.
Yeah. That's an example of garbage eye candy. But
garbage eye candy.
Just don't watch it. I just can't. I think I've tried to watch the last two Terminator movies that Dark and Moon, whatever the ones were that were like, because the people talk about they're very strawberry and everything, but they're unwatchable. I think they're just beyond tripe. No offense if you like it. Get help, but
I'm doing yourself.
Why did he have a shot?
Of course. But just follow.
Probably or not.
No, you know what? That's the night noise is probably not going to bother us anymore. Oh, well, all right, done.
It's already done, but here you go. Why don't you do that? If you thought about doing this, the genius, like a set for review for the movie out of 10, and the 3D. Look at that for school, you know?
Yeah, sure. So the movie by itself, I would give, I would say a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. And another aspect is like how entertaining is the 3D as part of eye candy. And then there's a third category for me that is, this is very rare, especially nowadays, but sometimes it's there, where is the 3D distracting? Does it remind you you're watching the movie and take you out of the film if it's too much?
So I'm curious though, for you, would it only be pop outs to do that, or does extreme depth that distracts you too?
I mean, it would be mostly pop outs, but I would say it would be undeserved, campy pop outs, if that makes sense. I'll say this for Coraline. There are some extreme pop outs, but I think all of them, except for the very first one, where the needle sticks out so far in the very beginning, which is fine. It's the beginning of the movie. I don't think that's that big of a deal. But for the rest of them that we saw, I think it's it's in, most of them are in Coraline's face. You're seeing it from Coraline's point of view. And I think that helps the story, because when Dad's hands popped out like this, you are taken back, but also that was Coraline's reaction too. And so I think you have a better connection with the main character when that happens, when it was told this way. Another one that got a really big laugh was when the cat was in Coraline's face right when she woke up, and the cat was filling the whole screen up in your face, and the audience just laughed because that's how cats are. And it's relatable because you wake up and a cat's right in your face.
Yeah.
So, and I think the 3D does enhance that. So I think artistically, I would have chosen the normal world to have a little bit more depth than it had. It's really flat.
Yeah, it's too much.
I think it's a little too much. In fact, I think it's actually so flat, it's a little distracting.
I agree in the original, because I thought you were, because when we discussed this outside the cinema, you sort of implied, like, you talked about the artistic element of it, and I get that, but it's too much for me. Like, that was
the flatness moment for,
I was one of those, like, wait, what the?
Yeah, there were spots where I'm like, I feel like I'm watching a 2D movie.
Yeah, unacceptable.
I
should never be questioning if I'm watching a 3D movie in a 3D movie.
That is true.
Yeah.
So I would say for that's going to lose a point in the distracting element. I would take it away because it wasn't used properly. Normally, I would take a point away because there was too much of it, but I would take it away because there wasn't enough of it in certain parts. And I'll cut them a little bit of slack because this was the earlier days of digital 3D, and people didn't quite know yet. And you shot it in 3D, so you can't change it later. You fucked up. All right, there forever.
This is too mild.
Yeah, it's too mild. Sorry. But the other world, I would say, is medium strong. Some parts are very strong, but most of it is slightly more than average, I would say.
Yeah.
All right. I talked a lot. So overall, I would give this 3D presentation, if I were to invite people over to watch this, an 8 out of 10. There are much better 3D movies that show off 3D and are just as good, if not better, of a story. So that's what I would say. And I give it that lower of a score because of how significant amount of the movie is very flat because it's in the real world. All right, Chris, go ahead. Take away your thoughts.
No, I pretty much agree with you. I give the movie itself as a movie, as a piece of art, an 8 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I do quite like it, but it's like there's certain movies that I usually really like stop motion. I love Wallace and Gromit, that kind of stuff. I do quite. I'm not like the biggest like Tim Burton-esque, that sort of gothic.
Henry Selick in this case.
Yeah, but that kind of vibe. I'm not like necessarily like crazy about that kind of vibe, but I do tend to enjoy it. I feel the right sort of mindset for it. I feel like Coraline writes this weird line between like kind of creepiness and kind of campiness. I sort of enjoy the campiness where I wish there was more of that. I really like the sequences with the old ladies downstairs. They're actually like quite a famous English comedy duo called Absolutely Fabulous in the UK. Well, they were very active in the 90s and stuff.
Thank you for bringing your English and enlightenment here up, because us Americans would not be ever cultured enough to know that.
I mean, they're pretty famous, like, and they've definitely done movies and stuff, and they've done like, I think they've been used as voice actors a few times. Like, they've got pretty cool voices, and they play those like crazy English, like theatrical old ladies perfectly. I enjoy those scenes a lot.
The lady with the big boobs, I made a horrible joke to Chris because she had an English accent. I'm like, okay, so does she sound normal to you and everyone else has an accent?
Well, A, I've been living it too long, and B, their accents are supposed to be like very like campy anyway. So, but it's fun. But I really like the campy moments. Like, I like the moments like that. I like the moments where they have like that sort of weird French sounding piano sort of, or like harpsichord sort of song playing. It's like a high bit stick where it's just like part of the garden. I really enjoy those sort of bits. And like, I don't know, I like something. I don't know. It's just a movie that for me, like, I enjoyed it a lot, but I never thought like, oh, this is the best movie yet. So I give it 8 out of 10. And then to the 3D, I pretty much agree with you, although I give it a 7 out of 10, honestly, because I feel like that it's just too flat in the real world situations. And I also think, I think maybe you maybe saw it differently, but I feel like the 3D in the other world locations is also quite consistent. It never goes completely flat. But like you said, it's very often like just immediate. And then there's some shots.
Yeah.
There's a handful of shots in there. And there's enough of them where it makes you wanting more. Like, I think that's the problem with 3D movies. If you have a 3D movie that gives you a really strong shot for like a few seconds and then not for the rest of it, you'll kind of crave it.
There's maybe 4 shots in five shots, including the one at the beginning.
Yeah.
That have strong 3D.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, that's so cool. And that's it. And so, yeah, it's like, don't give me okay, I'm going to say for the main world, it's like, as far as the depth goes, it's legit like a 1 out of 10.
Yeah.
Scale of depth. Yeah. In some cases, it's like a 0.5.
I would rate it as abyss.
And then the other world is like a 5 depth, sometimes a 6. And then there are certain shots that are like 9.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's so few, and they're only a second longer.
Yeah. And they really stick out. And like some of those shots were a bit longer, and like there was one of those shots where I suddenly felt like that thing I truly want to feel as like an ADHD person, where like the screen was all I could see and the cinema was completely gone. Like I was just completely in the movie, and it was that feeling like, being like basically a kid, like being like 18 or I wasn't watching Avatar, the first Avatar 3D, where I was just in the movie. Like, I just lived in Pandora, and I suddenly got that feeling like, oh, I'm living inside this movie. And that's how I want all 3D movies to be. I would say that's realistically how about maybe like 2% of them are. Yeah, sadly, like that's a problem with 3D. It's the inconsistency across the board, and most movies deserve much stronger 3D than they have. That's why I really like the recent Deadpool movie. The first half of that, especially, had excellent 3D, and you're completely in that movie. And that's why I rate Coraline's 3D a 7, because there's some really cool shots that remind you ultimately the rest of the shot is just a flat. And needs to be, because it's native 3D, and as we all know, native 3D can be just as weak as inverted or vice versa. But all they have to do is,
but we don't all know that. There will be a lot of new viewers that have never very new to this.
So that other people don't know that. But
you want to just very shortly explain that, because that might be a new thing to a lot of people. People who around 3D know this, but yeah, for the newcomers, you could explain this.
Well, some people assume that native 3D is always going to be stronger or always going to be more accurate, but you can have inaccuracies in native 3D. You can also, and then you set in depth in native 3D. I believe Tron Legacy is native, and it's supposed, considered like one of the flattest native movies of all time.
Oh, in the real world in Tron, it's literally 2-dimensional.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Yeah.
Because people just took off their glasses.
Yeah. They just gave up. Just like, and then 3D Blu-ray died right there.
You know what? If even if you did that, I would still just put the 2D screen just like back a little bit, just so you had to keep the glasses on to watch the 2D Blu-ray. But no, it's just flat. It's entirely two-dimensional.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll say that for a Tron review for one day.
Maybe. Yeah. The Tron remastered for these. Nobody was going to see. But yeah, you know, a native 3D movie can be very strong, and sometimes people associate it with being strong, but they don't have to be.
I'd say the best example of this is the Amazing Spider-Man 1 versus the Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
The original is natively shot in 3D, but it's so weak except for one shot that's literally like 4 frames. And then that's it. And then the second one, amazing 3D, it's all converted.
Yep.
So yeah, whether it's natively shot or not, yeah, almost everything on this channel is native 3D, just because I think it's easier. I don't know how to convert that well, so that's why I shoot in native 3D. But we're so far away. This is kind of flat to you guys, but sometimes, you know, I get closer.
Yeah.
But
sometimes a rabbit is thrust in your face.
yeah,
Dogger effects.
yeah. So, but you would give overall presenting Coraline like a 7.5 out of 10.
A 7, just because it's too, and again, because you get that high, that taste, you chase the dragon, like there's shots where like the screen was just my reality. I love that. Like it's almost like it needs to be like I'm inside this movie kind of thing. And then again, the shots in the other world, the fake world. There's too many, none of them are ever flat, but there's a few that are just meh. Yeah, I know. And you're already feeling like, but why not have this shot?
Right.
Like, because, the upper world is supposed to be like vibrant and crazy, and it's like, there's no
It's media.
It should have been strong the whole time, I think, in the upper world. And then,
It can't be like a 9 or a 10 out the whole time. It's because that'll freak me out. I knew you love it. But because like the movie Avatar, the original one,
yeah,
I'll show that to some people, and some people are like, people who are into 3D, like not nerds like us, and all like muggles. No, yeah, because there's
muggles, normies,
yeah. So yeah, I mean the original Avatar is really intense 3D for almost all of it.
Yeah, and that's all like me, slightly dead inside. I need that to get my rocks up. I need the extremeness to it's like how I need like a really strong cheese just to feel anything.
Yes. So
kind of thing.
Should you buy this 3D Blu-ray versus the 2D version? I think for almost every case, Chris and I would just say yes.
Yeah.
So I don't think that if that's really a question. A little depth is better than none.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much always going to be our recommendation, except for iRobot. I would say probably just get the 2D one for that one. That would be the only one I would ever say.
I still think that.
Oh really? Well, I think know bad.
I know it's bad, but also like
I thought all 3D can do a better job.
Well, yeah. I don't know why. You know what it is? It's because I feel like there's not really much 3D in that movie, so you can't. I hate that. I hate conversion errors. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can save that for another one. But anyways, yeah, you should always buy the 3D Blu-ray. And again, you can get 3D. The easiest way to get 3D in your home is to go to Best Buy, get a 3D projector. They're relatively cheap compared to 3D TVs, and you get a warranty there. Otherwise, there's other channels that'll tell you how to get 3D in your home, like Josh in Real Life 3D or Variety Films talked about cameras and whatnot. So go subscribe to them, and if Chris decides to make another YouTube channel, then I'll link it one day. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Any last thoughts? So you got all out.
Well, Bryce here thinks that maybe there's Coraline 2 coming. So
yeah, in the documentary they were like, we gotta make more, and allegedly it's just for promos, but and how much money they would make with a Coraline 2, even though there's no book. Universal's not new to doing that. Just there's no source material. Fuck it. We'll just make it on our own. That happens a lot in the industry. So Stranger things have happened. You know, there's an Incredibles 3 now, and the Hollywood has quadrupled down on, yes, sequels make money, and or revamps or remakes, and like this re-release of Coraline might even make more money than the original. I'm just kidding. I don't actually think that, but I think it's going to make a substantial amount of money because this was completely sold out.
It was, but it was the first day.
No, it was. It's maybe today. It's all 15th today. It's all the 15th today, is it? Oh, it's 17th. Yeah, no, it's been out for a couple days and it was completely sold out.
I would be curious to see if it's sold out at other, you know, like AMC Universal is a high foot traffic cinema. Let's not forget, like, you know, I'll be curious to see how popular it was. But to be fair, I'm oblivious to these cult things. Like, I didn't realize Nightmare Before Christmas was fucking huge. Like, people love that movie, and like, there's a huge fan base for that. I only found out recently.
Yeah. Really? Yeah. I only watched it because there was a cult back in 2008. Oh yeah. All right. I'm gonna say one thing that's completely off topic, and then we're gonna stop this video. It's no way too long, maybe. No, we need to stop it. Anyway, so Nightmare Before Christmas came out. The Blu-ray came out in 2008, and that and Sleeping Beauty from Disney were like the only movies that they had where they had 7.1 surround sound. So I bought those two movies just to, because I just got a 7.1 setup, and none of them used the back two speakers, and I wasn't even sure if they were hooked up correctly. So that movie didn't exist to play it that way.
Right.
So then I got Nightmare Before Christmas just to play it at 7.1, and it worked. And then I watched the whole movie, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Well, I mean, it's kind of charming, and then it just grew on me, and now it's my like comfort movie. So, anyways, that was it. We'll do more reviews in the future if you want to. Chris knows everything about 3D more than anybody else I know. Jonathan, you're very close seconds, but Chris knows stuff.
I feel like Jonathan knows more, but you know what?
Maybe we gotta keep also Jonathan to visit LA.
Yeah.
I doubt that'll ever happen, but he. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I love you very much. Until next time, later days.
I don't know what that's supposed to mean. Nice. There we go. Oh. So they did something. I don't know what they did, but they did something. Oh, thanks. I would have kept it on the rest of my life if you didn't tell me. What? No way. We get an extra thing? Well, good thing we stayed.
It's been 15 years since Coraline was released, and here we are with a combination of the crew who worked on the original puppets, and some of whom are working on Coraline puppets for the first time, bringing her build into the modern age. I'm Simon Thompson. I'm delighted to be joined by Sid Tucker, Brian McLean, Jess Lynn, Ollie Jones, Anya Poland, Henry Brummelman, and Scott Tom. Thank you for offering your time between building Wildwood puppets to talk about the film and the puppet that started it all.
It's Coraline. Coraline Jones.
Who remembers this? This is Coraline character design artwork. Now, when you guys look at these designs, what are the first questions and the challenges that you all, as puppet fabricators, see, and how do you begin to ideate a build?
First thing, I look at that and I think, how are those knees going to bend? That's the first thing I see on her.
How are we going to fit a joint in there that's going to actually operate and not collapse, be strong enough?
Try and break down the visual elements and try and start imagining how they're going to move. And are we going to have to compensate for them? Are we going to have special builds for them? Yeah, there's a lot of questions there.
There's a lot of panic sometimes.
A lot of panic.
Like you look at the knees, I look at those eyeballs and think they're huge. How are they going to fit inside the head? So I think each of us sort of look at it from our own vantage point and figure out how the heck are we going to do this?
Once we start working with sculpts, maquette, and then on top of that, once animation understands performance prompts, so looking at storyboards and knowing how it's going to behave, like all of that plays into the final product. So something, maybe we lose a certain shape in that design, but we gain something for a performance element.
What drives a lot of that is just the expectation. The animation that we're trying to produce has a lot more fluidity, has a lot more nuance and naturalism to it. And so that goes into everything. Our armature designs, how we engineer costumes, goes into facials. So that expectation becomes the driving force for everything.
It's also really easy, I think, to forget everything about her was a conscious choice. Especially in her case, she's incredibly asymmetrical. And it could be so easy to kind of be like, oh, I'm just going to shore that up, you know, kind of like lift that side or that, and forget that it was like, no, that was a choice.
Design choices.
That was a design choice at the time.
We meant to do it like that.
Yeah.
It's fun. You can actually look at the armature and see that one knee is significantly higher than the other, and that's on purpose.
What has changed in puppet fabrication since 2008?
So one of the benefits that we all can have access on this digital model now is that we can make costume dummies, so they can start the costume much earlier in the process, but it also lets us make digital molds while everybody else is making like the armature or the costume. And the fact that this is printed makes you able to print more molds at the same time.
Yeah, it was definitely more sequential. When we say that this was our original Coraline, that meant one sculptor had made one clay thing, and that was it. So we had to give this delicate little thing to a mold maker and say, don't mess this up. This is it.
Yeah, and it was a lot harder to reiterate on, like, if you wanted to change anything on the body sculpt, from how do you compare like the revisions to the original as well, which in 3D now we can just overlay that.
We're making copies on top of copies each time, and it's a challenge to lose fidelity as we are learning, as we're trying to recreate Coraline now, 15 years later, trying to capture what we did the first time. Coraline was like his first film, so a lot of the structure for that film was built for that movie. We have a lot of versions of Coraline that we have to sift through to try to figure out what is our original, because we made Coralines for different purposes. And so it was a bit of an archaeological dig to try to figure out how to build Coraline again, because our original things have broken down over time.
Yeah, I mean, there's bits and pieces of costume, not everything, but there's something to go off of. There's armature bits left, there's some eye-rig bits left, there's, some boxes of stuff. And basically what we have in archives is whatever was left over from production.
Yeah, it was really fascinating. We were able to go to archives, and our archivists had pulled a lot of the original materials, and we learned some really fascinating facts, like that none of her seams on this raincoat were actually sewn. They were all glued. And I was able to really study these and sort of see what's on the inside, and all the foam on the inside has crumbled. But I was able to use this to take a pattern off a bit.
Because we needed to make everything match with previous Coralines, we had to make some very specific choices. And that made us come to terms with choices we made 15 years ago. So we spent a lot of time starting to make sure that all of our rebuilds will match our old pieces, because we want to use our library of faces.
Yeah, the replacement faces were a big part of Coraline's design expectation, or performance expectation, I should say. I have here some Coraline faces, so they would come out in this white plastic. They then needed to be primer gray and then sanded, smooth, and then they were painted with the lacquer. And we tried to figure out how we were going to paint Coraline's teeth. So we created a mouth bag. So you paint the teeth separately, and then you'd stick it in behind, and they would register and snap into place.
I'm from Pontiac, Michigan.
So we quickly found that the faces will gradually start to wear out the plastic registration part on the head. So as you put faces on and off over and over again, eventually this part wears down. And we were kind of boxed in a corner, because normally we would just say, well, take off the hair cap, put on a new core, but we couldn't.
Yeah, I think there was always this back and forth with our teams. Even just the tiniest little gap, like around the eyes, will be magnified. It can sometimes just be because one little piece of hair got wedge between the face and the registration of the head. We really wanted to maybe push stop motion hair. I think the scene, particularly when she's looking under the bed and you see all the individual strands fall down, it was interesting to see animators kind of request more and more, because it was pretty cool to just see how much life it brought to the performance rather than just having a single strand.
Come on, blue hair, my swampers, and raincoat.
Were you around when with the conversation became blue hair?
What I recall, and you can kind of see it on this sample right here, she reads more black, right?
Yeah.
The artist put in blue highlights. And
Like
then,
midnight blue.
yeah, and then something about that was like, oh, maybe she has blue hair. And then if you look in the film, there's a photograph of the family unit, and she has brown hair, supposed to represent where Coraline is in her relationship with her family. She's kind of, because it's like she wants the more colorful gloves, where her mom's kind of like, no, we're doing the uniform.
Put them back. But Mom, the whole school's gonna wear boring gray clothes. No one will have these.
It's iconic now.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
hugely iconic. You can just see that colour or that profile and you instantly know it's Coraline.
Huh.
When you were remaking these puppets 15 years later, what challenges did you expect and what did you not see coming?
We went through the archives and we had a look at what was there, and there seemed to have been like lots of different versions of this raincoat fabric. It's a wet look spandex, and they were maybe more popular in the early 2000s than they are now. So we were having a real hard time trying to find something similar, so we actually had to recreate it. As far as I know, which we learned from Deb Cook, our costume designer, there was actually a coating on top of this as well, so in the movie it's a lot shinier than what you see here. The bottom of the jacket needs to deform, so all these wires need to be built in. It's actually got to move like real fabric. And on the original Coraline, those were actually quite stiff, so I've gone with more a standard wire that the animators prefer on new movies. But I was referring back to the original Coraline, so I didn't want to change it too much. The wire actually kind of gives her that bell shape at the bottom of the jacket, so I didn't want to remove that because I felt like that was part of her character.
It was a pain in the butt to have to super glue an eyeball, and now our current builds of current puppets are a lot more user-friendly.
I've heard a lot of questions where, we utilize VFX and CG now to help comp in elements, and there's kind of like, well, but what about the handmade? Are you worried that's going to go away? And I can say that it just means more puppets, more units, more things, so we can just continue to add.
This idea of the computer coming into stop motion was a real fear, and I think and it was truthful, because a lot of people in stop motion had just gotten kind of burned by everything that they were used to was now being done in the computer.
I brought a friend.
It's great to see just how there's been this real acceptance of trying to use technology in a really artful way, and you don't have to lose the handmade quality.
It's not like our movies, how long it takes us is getting any shorter. If anything, it's like, well, we've saved time there, so let's get more ambitious here. It's like we've never done it to be like, hey, save some weeks.
Efficiency is quickly absorbed more.
That's exactly what this digital process now as well. It's not like it got much shorter. No, we're doing 16 revisions on a body instead of 4.
Exactly.
What it used to be.
It's there to give animators better control and there to give more creative input from the directors. That's why this stuff is important.
That means that you can get a higher quality product because it's more considered.
Because we have a whole new generation of Coraline fans, what have these new puppet builds done to improve puppet performance and durability?
Because she's our most popular character, she wants to be used everywhere. So right now we're limited to just posing for still photos and things, and even that is wear and tear on the puppets and breaks them down. So having new silicone, new parts just means that now we can just have a new generation of puppets to use for whatever studio needs we want. And there's just more variety of what you can do with her and how we can show her to people.
It's so thrilling to have something this special, and the fact that we're making new ones that can kind of broaden that experience for people. We're really lucky that we've got this opportunity to both work with Coraline again and to just further her interaction with her audience.
What this gives me is a reminder that the work we were doing 15 years ago, it was hard then, it's still hard now, and we're still pushing. Our tools are better, and we've learned a lot. We've inspired new people who can bring sort of new life to stuff we've done in the past. It's what feeds our future, is the seeds of Coraline planted.
Nice. Oh man. This is the most full I've seen a theater at the end of the movie. What do you guys think? Good? Would you buy it in 3D to watch at home?
I have it in 3D.
You have it in 3D? You have
Like the original.
do you have the 3D Blu-ray or the one with the red, the purple and green glasses?
I have sorry, I have like the DVD one, not the Blu-ray. Like,
The DVD one. Okay, so with the purple and green glasses?
yeah.
Do you know you can buy it like these for home?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Just
But you gotta have a 3D TV, so.
yeah, just go on Amazon and search Coraline 3D Blu-ray, and then you'll get it like these.
Oh.
Yeah, and then just go to Best Buy and get a 3D projector. They're like $400 for one as good as this quality.
No big deal, just $400, yeah.
That's not that bad.
Once I'm done school, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Cheaper than a PS5.
I would take care of one.
Yeah, no one knows the 3D. You can get 3D movies at home.
We're the weirdos, man.
We're the weirdos. Oh man. Oh boy.